Okay, guys, let's celebrate, right? Last month, crazy month. We got 5 agents that broke 30K and a couple more that were right there. Here's what's crazy about May. May, we only had, I want to say it was either 12 or 13 agents that were on the system for 4 weeks, 4 full weeks. You know, it's crazy. You get 12, 13 agents that do this full time and your top 5 wrote over 30K. Guys, you know that's not normal, right? I hope you do. I mean, go over to FFL, ask them how they did. You know, they're going to tell you out of their 1,000 agents, their top 5 look similar to this. What we're doing is pretty special. It's pretty unique. So I want to celebrate all these agents. Patrick, Patrick, congratulations. Month after month, very consistent. Just FYI, guys, when Patrick and I had our first conversation, I always ask if you've sold before, what you've done in the past. And Patrick never sold. He never did any type of sales gig before. And he's consistently doing 40K, right around 40K a month. Very, very consistent. Again, congratulations, Patrick. Nico, 2 months with us. And here we are, his second month. Bam, he broke 30K. Awesome. Very good job, Nico. Nico makes the dials. He does the work. He's probably our he's our second or third highest dialer. I know Austin uses a dialer system that's separate. So I seem to never give him credit for dials because I don't see it on the system here, but I know he does a lot too. But again, Nico, congrats. Nico makes the dials. He does the work. He's in here doing the work and it's paying off, just like Matt G. Very consistent. Matt G, you guys have heard me speak about it, how we did a call with Matt a couple weeks ago, and basically he stepped up his game. He decided, I'm going to go with the 100 dial a day rule that Doug's been pushing. And in his second year, he decides to do it. And now he's increased his production by 50%. Last year, he wrote 240K, 240K. That's huge. This year, he's on target to do 360K. So that's pretty awesome. Ernie's he's just a closer. What am I going to say? Ernie's got that special thing. He doesn't have to kill himself to make this work. Now, let's talk about Phil. Phil's the outlier. Why is Phil the outlier? Well, first of all, congratulations, Phil. Phil's third month. In the previous 2 months, he wrote right at 25K. And he finally, his third month, he broke the 30K mark. So that's a reason to celebrate right there, big time. But Phil is the outlier. Here's why. So here's an interesting stat. I look at dials, I look at talk time, and dials, the more talk time. Phil doesn't get in the dials that some of the other agents gets in, but he gets in a lot more talk time. He chats these folks up. And in the beginning, Phil and I, there was a concern. He's like, man, I'm talking too long with these people. And we were like, well, we'll figure out ways to cut the time down. But look, it's working. It's working. So, okay, let me give you a stat. Here's a crazy stat. Between Patrick, Nico, Matt, and Ernie, these agents in May, their talk time was mainly right around 60 to 70 talk hours. Here's the interesting stat. You got your person with the most talk time here in the top 5. The number 2 talk time is right around 70 hours. And Phil did 110 hours of talk time. One of those big stats. Phil's put in the extra time, the extra work, and he is putting in the extra time, obviously. Literally 50% more talk time than the person who has the second most talk time from May. Phil is willing himself to success. That is exactly what he's doing. He's doing the work. He's gotten through a lot of the learning curve. He's still got more to go. He's only been doing this a few months. And here we go. 25K first month, 25K second month, 32K the third month. Congratulations. Very, very, very awesome. Nice top 5, guys. Very, very cool. Keep up the good work. Let's do some training. You got 4 steps to straight line sales, right? You take control in the first 4 seconds. Your first 4 seconds need to be smooth. You got to get away from the fumbling and bumbling. When the client picks up, and they say hello, take your time and go, "Hey, Janet, it's Doug calling for our appointment. How are you today?" Great. Exactly the way it is in the presentation, guys. Understand what I'm trying to explain. I know we're using the dialer system. I know there's some type of a weird little delay. There always is. That's why you have to take your time. Let the client pick up the phone, say hello, give it maybe a 2 count, and then speak. You need to take control in the first second. Forget about 4 seconds. The first second. That's how you're doing it right there. Step 2, you got to build a lot of rapport. I'm seeing serious issues with this, guys. Okay? Serious. Phil don't have no problem with it. He's talking with these folks. Boom. They open up. They start talking about anything, and he lets them yap. Let them go. He's like, "Man, Doug, I'm letting them talk too much." I'm like, "Phil, it's working though, bro. It's working, right? So it ain't broke. Don't fix it." Build rapport. Talk. Speak with these people. You do not want to give a price in the first 25 minutes. You get around that at least 20 to 25 minute mark. Now you should have spoken enough and gotten familiar enough with the client to where when you do drop the price on them and you do go to close, they actually give you some respect. I am telling you, you got to build rapport before. And then when they give you the objection, so right, you're building a rapport. You're doing your job. They're sensing that you are this consummate professional. You're smooth. And boom, 25 minutes in, you're dropping the price, right? You're going in for the close. And they give you the old, "Well, I got to talk to the kids first." You know what to do now. Oh, good. All right, let me give you something to talk about. You give them something to talk about. You build value in the product for the next 10 minutes. People don't just buy nowadays. This isn't the 50s. Okay, this is not the 50s. These folks are being told by everybody they know in Social Security, other insurance agents, not to trust anybody, not to give out their personal information, not to do it. They're being trained not to do it. You can't give the prices too soon. It's going to backfire every single time. And if you're thinking, "Well, I can give the prices early and then just, overcome the objections, do the looping later." No, it's still not enough. I am telling you guys, when I had my old call center, the little office where we were selling over the phone, I am telling you, I know I sound like a broken record. We did not give the price until 40 minutes into the presentation because of this. And it worked. Okay, I'm not asking you to do that. We're using a different technique. So look, you can do it your way. You can do it my way. You can do it any way you want. You're an independent agent. But guys, I am telling you, I'm asking you to do what we ask you to do because it really, really, truly does work. Of course, step 3, you're gathering the information. Right, that's part of the process. You're presenting and you're closing. Look, if you don't close, this don't work. And I think when we're a new agent, especially new to sales, that whole concept of always be closing, of actual closing. What is closing? Let me give you a better definition. This is the Doug Massi version. You can either give prices like a customer service representative. You can set up a potential sale in a way that a customer service representative does, which they don't sell anything, right? So you're going to be out of business. Or you can do what a talented sales professional does. You follow the presentation, which guides you right into the close, and you do the close exactly the way it is, word for word. My recommendation is either do the one call close or do the Doug Massi close. And you guys should all have that. If you've got the presentation, if we sent you the presentation, you have the Doug Massi close. That's what I do. That's what I like. That's my preference. Other agents like doing, the other closes. It's completely up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. The Doug Massi close is a true close, though. That's why I like it. I am closing. I'm doing exactly the way Jordan talks about doing it in the book. Exactly. And that's the way I've always done it, guys. That's the way, long before I read this book, long before this book came out. Taking control. Let's talk about that first 4 seconds, right? That first 4 seconds. So what does it say in the book? He's basically saying the first thing you've got to do is establish your authority and take control of the sale. This has got to happen in the first 4 seconds of the sales conversation, or you'll fail to close. Look, guys, I am telling you, I don't care what your sales background is. If you try to do your own thing and not use our presentation, unless you are just that amazing, and we're going to see it because you're going to probably be our number one agent, right? You're going to be in that top 3 right from day one. And if you are, great, you do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, you need to follow our presentation because it helps you to do this. That's exactly what it does. It helps you to establish the authority and take control of the sale right in the first second. That's what it does. Also, according to Belfort, you must establish 3 things about yourself in those first 4 seconds. This is what our presentation does. It lets them know you're competent. That's that first 4 seconds, big time, right? I mean, you don't want to fumble and bumble and be talking over the client. Oh, hello. Oh, hey, it's Doug. Hello, is anybody there? No, you don't want to do that. You've got to come out, boom, sounding strong, smooth, professional, competent. Expertise. You must not only sound like an expert, but also work until you become one. All right, guys. Now we're talking about doing the work. Look, this is a true statement. We've been conditioned from childhood to turn to experts, such as doctors, teachers, and advisors for help. Our clients have too. So you need to be the doctor. How many times have you guys, those have been with us for a couple of years, you're like, geez, Doug, you sound like a broken record. Yes, you're the professional. You've got to convey in-depth knowledge of what you're doing, of the product, the insurance, and how it can benefit your customer. Even if you're pretty new, you really have to get to this quick. You know, if you have to fake it until you make it, you fake it until you make it. Enthusiasm for the product. Another thing that I noticed is the lack of enthusiasm. I think what happens is because we want to be that pro, because we want to be that professional, we come out being a little more monotone than we think. You know, we're strong, but we're more monotone. You got to have ups and downs. You've got to have excitement, enthusiasm, and energy throughout the entire presentation. You've got to love what you're doing, and they've got to sense it. Again, years ago, when I first decided I wasn't going to take the nonsense anymore, I was going to put on the Insurance Man show. I was monotone, right? I was listening to my recordings, and I was like, man, you kind of suck. That's what I realized I did. I was like, holy cow, I can't believe anybody would buy from you. I realized the light came on, and I said, enough is enough. And then I started putting on this show. So here I am making presentations with all this energy and excitement, and the clients are smiling and laughing at me. We're talking face to face, okay? This is when I first realized that this works. So I'm sitting there, you know, my arms are waving around, I'm putting on the show, and they're laughing at me, and then handing me a check 20 minutes later, okay? 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, whatever it took. Guys, I am telling you. So you have to convey this in your words, your emotion. You have to influence them with your voice. It's the only way it's going to work, guys. You got to have that enthusiasm. Very simple. Again, try to do the 100 dials per day rule. If everybody in this agency did the 100 dial per day rule, especially some of you better agents, and I know your talk time, so you can't tell me if you've got most agents that have 60 hours of talk time or less, you can't tell per month, 15 hours a week. Maximum is what we're seeing with a lot of the agents. I hate to say it. You can't tell me that you're making 100 dials per day. Some of you are, but most of you aren't. Guys, I'm telling you, if you do this, it's agency-wise, our numbers would be insane. You guys are missing out on easy sales just because you're not doing the work. I'm telling you. Yeah. You're independent agents. You can do what you want. I'm just the messenger, guys. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the guy seeing what works, and I'm sharing it to you, sharing it with you. Here's 4 things that we just need to touch on real quick. Again, not using our presentation and trying to do your own thing. Whether you're experienced or not, this is where a huge fail is. I heard someone using their voice and trying to do it and kind of doing their own thing recently. And what I realized was because of the way our lead is generated, they were actually sending a message to the client that made the client think that this might actually be free. Like the agent was doing it and didn't even realize it. And the agent's complaining, these people think it's free. Well, yeah, you're doing your own presentation that doesn't work with our lead. Let me explain. Let me dig in here. These folks, they're going into our funnel. They're filling out this lead form. A lot of them are setting these appointments. And the way the lead is designed, the presentation is the part 2 of that. It takes over where they left off. If you don't take over where they left off and you're using a script that would work with a different type of lead, it don't work, okay? And there's a couple of agents right now going, oh, he's talking about me. Actually, I'm not. I'm talking specifically about this because I see it so much. I see agents making these little changes, and it's like they're trying to make our presentation theirs in their way by changing certain things for certain reasons, which is a huge fail. I am telling you, it's a fail. And if it doesn't work your first day, stop. Don't do it. Just trust in the system. And that's the second fail, not trusting in our system. So it's the whole system, guys. It's the way we overcome objections. That's part of the system. The way we generate the lead, the way we generate the appointments, the whole process, soup to nuts, from when you first say hello to the prospect to when you hang up the phone and the sale is through. That's our system. Do it our way. I'm telling you, it works. It works. And I know this can be hard. You know, I remember back in the day when I had to go to the office, when I was selling face-to-face at the Hartford, I had to go in the office and I would see other agents come in and they just couldn't set the appointment right. Like the client would take control, and they're sitting there, their agent's trying to set an appointment, the client's sitting there controlling the call. And I remember, you know, I was lucky that I got that part right away because the bosses were on top of you. You know, back then you had to come into the office, you had a phone day. Mine was Sunday night. So the Dolphins are playing football. I ain't watching them, right? I got to work. You know, here I am on my Sunday setting appointments, but there was a manager there that sat there and said, no, don't do that. When they tell you this, push through. Guys, trust in our system. Trust in what we teach. I did with my manager back then. That's why they had 3 offices and I was their number 1 agent. All right. Not doing the work. All right, guys. So we know this is a fail. I think everybody comes in thinking, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a go. But then they realize it's hard. This feels weird. Holy cow. And then an hour and a half into their day, they start to backpedal and do weird. I don't know what happens. But you got to be prepared. If you're not doing the work to prepare for your first day, then that's on you. What I don't suggest doing is, because I've had agents do this and realize, uh-oh, I'm not really prepared. And then they would say, stop. I'm going to start next week, do a restart. I don't suggest that. I suggest pushing through, because at this point, if you didn't prepare right for the first day and you're on your first day, well, you know what? You got to push through. I think you're better off pushing through, honestly, if that happens, but it shouldn't happen. Be prepared, not using energy and enthusiasm throughout the presentation. Even I think what happens is in the beginning, we're like, okay, I'm ready. Boom, the client answers, boom, you got the energy, you're coming out strong. And then it starts to fade. Catch yourself. If you know you do that, and you should be listening, everybody on this call should be listening to their recordings, right? So you're listening to yourself, you're doing the work on yourself. If you know you're losing the energy, just put a sticky note on your monitor that says energy and enthusiasm. That way, while you're talking, you're doing the presentation, you'll catch yourself 15 minutes into it and go, you'll see that note and go, oh, I need to step up my energy. What am I doing? I'm losing energy. You lose energy, you lose control. Then the client's telling you what to do. They're in control. And the next thing you know, they're telling you what to do, which is call them next week. Click. Basic preparation. So new agents, you need to spend time. You need to spend hours, really hours every day memorizing the presentation. I'm not saying completely memorize it, but get it to the point to where when it comes out of your mouth, it sounds like you've been saying it for years. That really is. And never take away from the presentation. So this is the big fail. This is what happens when you use your own script. You're basically subtracting from our presentation. You're trying to make it shorter, trying to do your own thing, and that doesn't work. Do a mock sale each day. So again, new agents, you got to do several mock sales. Now, so when I say mock sale, I don't mean just filling out an application, excuse me. Yeah, you want to do applications on yourself with all the carriers, at least the main 5 or 6, right? At least a couple of them, so that you know what to say to the client when it comes time for the signature, so that you know what to do when the glitch happens, right? The glitches happen. Practice, practice, practice for your first day. Make sure you know how to walk the client through the signature process for any carrier that you're selling, and be prepared. Here's the thing, be prepared to back up. This happens with everybody, right? You got an app, boom, you got a sale, you got the client, you send them the e-signature or the text signature, and now they're having a hard time. They're like, I can't find the blue button. I don't know what you're talking about. They start to get frustrated. You can't get frustrated. You've got to be the calm before the storm, right? They're the storm, you're the calm. No problem, Mr. Client. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to back out and we're going to do a voice signature. I'm going to read something to you, and you're just going to need to say, sure. Prepare them for the voice signature, back out, explain how it's going to work, and then do the voice signature. You've got to practice that. I would say practice that is smart. For example, take a carrier, SBLI, American Amicable, GTL, do an app, go through the e-signature. Now you know what it's like. Send it to yourself on your smartphone. Okay, now I know what it's like. Now I know what to tell the client to look for. And then do a second app using the voice signature process. Of course, you don't have to do the voice signature, but at least you know how to do it now. I would say even back out of it. That's smart, right? You get your voice signature, you're doing the app on yourself. You get your e-signature. Pretend you're the client. Uh-oh, I don't know how to do it. How do I back out? Now you're on your computer, backing out to do the voice signature. Practice stuff like that. These scenarios are real. If you practice them, you're prepared for it. When you first start, we recommend you only concentrate on the 3 main products. I'll talk you, depending on what you have, I'll speak with you about that. Please reach out to me. You really want to be prepared to sell like 5 products, maybe 6 products, but you really want to concentrate on 3 the first week or 2, because if it goes well, you just do those, it won't be too complicated. Now, there are people, some of you guys have the personality where you can do an app on 8 or 9 different carriers once or twice. You can do that. And then now you kind of remember, you've got notes on each application. So some of you guys can do that. I'm not saying you have to do it because it's a lot, but at least know your primary 3 to 5 carriers. At least have done a couple of apps on them by the time you get into your first day, at least. Guys, learning curve is going to be different for everybody. However, if you're making 100 dials a day, you're going to push through it faster. That's all part of the deal. So the trick is to make the sacrifices and do the hard work up front so that later you don't have to. So later it's easier. Okay? That's the trick right there. You got to push yourself hard. When you're new at something, backing up and trying to take the easy way out usually doesn't work. You got to step up and kind of look at it like, hey, if I can make this happen, if I can make this work, potentially, and depending on who you are, potentially I can make more money than I've ever made doing anything else. And that's what my family needs. And that's what this platform does for you guys. If you're prepared, if you push yourself, if you do the work. And that's really what it comes down to. Now, let's talk about a little bit about rapport. It is so important before you give the price that you've gotten information about the prospects. You've got them talking. You've got them opening up. If they open a door to anything, let them talk. Get them to talk. Okay, let them, especially the funeral story, right? I mean, there's nothing better in a life insurance sales presentation than having a client tell you that they went to a funeral recently or that so-and-so died. I'm not saying that that's a positive. It's not, of course, but the idea of now you have the reason, the why. Now you have so much to talk about. Of course, you want to share your funeral experience story. Maybe you should have something canned. I suggest it. I always did. When I did telesales, I had a canned story. I was ready to share a few minutes of my funeral experience. I already had it played out. At the end of the day, the rapport thing has to be up front. You have to get some rapport in. and only 20, 25 minutes and given a price for life insurance for think about it. We're selling a product that is not going to benefit the client themselves. They're not going to be able to enjoy this, and they're going to make a payment for the rest of their life. So you think you're going to give them a price in the first 10 minutes and they're just going to roll over and hand you their checking information? Here's the problem with that. The ones that do are going to be the cancelers. You need to work with these folks, get familiar with them, build the rapport, in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, after the sale is done. And in our presentation script, it has a cool down, right? In the presentation script, after you've read that, ask them what they're doing with the rest of the day. Talk about hobbies. Have another 5-minute conversation with them, a true cool down where you don't talk anything about insurance. You say nothing about insurance. That is a true cool down. Do that after you've done the presentation. Like you've gotten to the last word in the script. Now, you know something about the family. So when did you say your daughter's going to be coming into town? Okay, nice. You guys, do you have any plans? You guys can just hang out? Okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, my sister's going to be coming to visit me here in a couple of weeks. That should be pretty cool. We haven't seen each other in over a year. You got any other relatives that live in the area? Just talk about nothing. I am telling you, it helps. This helps to keep them from getting buyer's remorse. This is all part of the rapport that you need. Guys, here's the crazy part. The easy part is the sale. That's when the work starts. And I think if you can wrap your mind around that concept, it's going to make this whole process easier. 5 things. You just do the work on yourself. Now, that's the other thing. Everybody gets an assignment. If you've been with us, if you've been selling insurance for years, I'm going to ask you to please pull one of your recorded conversations, whether it was a presentation of a client. Now, let's call it a presentation that you did not sell, that you didn't sell, and you listen to it. Listen to it yourself. Fix what you're hearing that you don't like. Guys, I don't want to hear my voice. I'm sorry you guys have to. But if you want to get better, you've got to do that. Listen to yourself. That's your assignment. Put in the dial times, put in the dials. I'm telling you, if everybody on here made, I'm telling you right now, if you're not making 100 dials per day, you can pull up on the system. If you want me to show you how to do it, there's a way you can go on the system and you can see exactly how many dials you've made, how many calls have come inbound, how many calls you've made outbound. We see all that, your dial time and your talk time. You can see all that for the week. I would say if you need me to show you, I will show you. At the end of Friday, you should have at least 500 dials in. If you can figure out a way to make that happen and you're not doing that right now, I promise you your income will increase. I promise you, I guarantee it's a done deal.